As we're talking about the power of experiential learning, I'd like to share with you my own personal conviction. I believe that for learning to be optimally effective, it has to include 4 things. There has to be some intellectual understanding of the content, which is what I call head. In my brain, I have to get it. There has to be some kind of conviction around it, which is, simplistically, you could call it heart. I have to believe it. I have to believe there's value in changing. If I don't believe that there's value in changing, I'm not going to change. I have to know how. I need the skill to change. You have to show me specifically, if this is not good, specifically, what do I have to do to be better? Which, call hands. And then, if you're running an organization, there has to be some impact or some result. In other words, you want to be able to harvest all that training that you've done. Head, heart, hands, harvest. Without these 4, the learning is going to be less effective. Now let me explain to you why I believe experiential learning is such a powerful tool. We've talked about it being a mirror of your reality. It reflects the world in which you are in. So that's a given now. It is a reflection. We've talked about setting aside 2 to 4 hours to capture something which might take 2 to 4 months in the real world, can capture it in microcosm and have a mirror. So I go through that experience, which is a mirror in a short time frame of the real world. But now look, immediately when I go through that experience, I learn what I did and what worked and what didn't work. So I'm able to say, I did this was the consequence, I should change that. So there's an intellectual appreciation of the reality of what just happened. Secondly, I build conviction because I did it. This was me doing something, or my team, and us seeing the consequence of our action and realizing that's not as good as it could be. So I can bring it back. It's me, and therefore I have conviction. It's not somebody talking at me. And in fact, one of the most exciting things about experiential learning is to watch the debrief that occurs at a table after a group has been through something like this. Because you can just see the light bulbs come on as they discover for themselves what it is that needs to change. So this is about the most powerful form of discovery learning you can ever have, which is, of course, the best thing. If a golf pro teaches me to swing and I never swing, then I'm really not going to learn. It's only in the swinging and realizing what works and doesn't that I can begin to change my behavior and build a conviction about the right way to do it. The third, the experience comes along, and because it is built to have a debrief here, which is very powerful, I can see, okay, if I change these things, these are the tactical things to do differently, it will change my result. And we call it here, teach me to win in the game, and then show me how winning in the game shows me how to win at work. And that's really the value. I learn to win at work because I learn new skills, better ways to plan, better ways to harness the energy of my team, better ways to optimize profit, because it's all embedded in the experience. And lastly, every experience has some form of metrics. And those metrics help me to measure the consequences of my actions. And by measuring the consequences of my actions, I can see what those metrics are, and then I can learn to change the metrics. Well, of course, that's exactly what we want them to do in the real world. So these 4 values, which I believe are so critical to changing behavior and making a difference in an organization, are all embedded in experiential learning, which is why it's so powerful.